Ask Tom on Home Show.
Klaus from Kittening, Pennsylvania has a question about asphalt siding.
Well, he's first-time homebuyer, Tom, and he's working on projects for this house right here. And Klaus writes to us, we want to change the Inselbrook asphalt siding because it's flaking off in places. We've been told to wrap it, then add something like vinyl over it. But I have concerns that it will continue to deteriorate, underneath once he's done that. It has lap underneath it that appears to be solid. I'm concerned, he says, the removal would be an expensive and time-consuming process due to the number of nails that's holding it up and the potential for asbestos if it flakes. What's your advice for that?
I don't think his home, looking at it, is an asbestos issue because it looks like a newer home. I don't think it's back from the late 60s and early 70s, so I don't think that's a problem. You could always research it and find out. Now, you would not hear me ever talk much about vinyl siding, but in Pennsylvania, it's not a terrible thing to go ahead and cover something up with vinyl siding if that's what you wanted to do, if it fit your budget. Here in the Houston area, that would not come out my mouth at all because we're in the Gulf Coast region and that's different. It would have been a Hardy product all the way, and Hardy there in Pennsylvania would be fine too. But if you don't want to strip it, you want to cover it with something, vinyl's going to be your only option. Pennsylvania, I would say it's not a terrible thing. It's probably done all the time there. I will say this, the most important thing that he's concerned about, will it continue to deteriorate? I don't know, but I doubt it. Because once it's not exposed to the weather anymore and it's staying dry, I don't think the deteriorations are going to ever be a big issue. Now, if you put vinyl on there 20, 30 years from now, somebody pulled the vinyl off, it probably would not be as strong as it is today and not near as good a shape as it was when it was put on brand new. But it's going to be up to you. The other, of course, product I would tell you to look at is Hardy in the Pennsylvania area. I don't know about the availability or how popular it is there, but that you would definitely have to strip it off if you were going to use a product like a Hardy, James Hardy Building Products siding, because that's going to have to go against the wood structure, which would be the lath would be fine, or a plywood sheathing, whatever you find behind there. But if you're going to cover it, vinyl's the cover. And if you're going to cover it in Pennsylvania, you can get away with it because it's cold all the time. You don't have hurricanes and the high humidities and the stuff we have in the Gulf Coast.
Now, you say that you can't put Hardy over it, but there are times when you have the that asbestos siding down here that you say we could run Hardy over. Is there any reason what the difference
No,
is?
you don't see many people run over the asbestos or the type of siding. No, because it's so brittle, if you start nailing through it, it just cracks to pieces. So you have to nail through it with the Hardy too. So usually when you do Hardy on a house in the Gulf Coast area, unless you get somebody who's really trying to trick it out somehow and get away with it, or put lath on there and build it out so it's not putting a lot of fasteners through that very brittle siding that they used for years down here. It usually comes off first and then the Hardy goes on after it's stripped off.
We have a video, brand new video we just put up on HomeShowRadio.com that shows what happens when you don't use Hardy. If you're going to go with a fiber cement siding, you go with a cheaper knockoff product that doesn't have all the benefits that the Hardy product has, what happens to a house when that happens. So you may want to go to HomeShowRadio.com and check that out. If it should be on the homepage for the next week or so. If you've watched this and it's a little older, you can dig down and find it. But Tom, to that point, Hardy for that part of the world is not going to be the same Hardy that we buy down here.
No, it's not going to have the same primer on there. It's not going to be the same formulation. But if you whoever's watching this all over the world, if you're going to buy a fiber cement siding, make sure it's a James Hardy Building Products fiber cement siding, because they are not all created equal. And to that video you just said, Charlie, that's a perfect example. I don't want people to think that they're putting it over asbestos siding like we had just mentioned. That has a tear off and a rebuild, and they're putting new siding, the Hardy siding, on, but they're tearing the old stuff off first. And that's what you'd have to do with Hardy. You just don't put it on the old garbage for sure.
We're never going to tell you how to cut a corner just to do it right. Because remember, Tom, you cut a corner, you create two more, right? Go ahead and click on the Ask Tom button if you want some help. It'll take you to this page. Then you go down to this page, and that's where you put all your information, including pictures. Like Klaus sent us that beautiful picture of his house, which I guess would be the Klaus house.
I like it.
And
Cousin Klaus. It's getting that time of year.
His house, yes. Anyway, he would be happy to help you out, no matter where your house is. And we'll post a new video every day at HomeShowRadio.com, our Facebook page, and of course the YouTube channel for Home Show Radio.